Sometimes when I do these YouTube segments, I think that I have to make them super long because I need to explain my position in 15 different ways in order for an audience of people who are hostile towards me to understand me. I'm going to start this off with a backstory, and then we're going to talk about the probable title of the video and what I just watched. Backstory. All of my life, I have dealt with situations in which I could reasonably say I was the most autistic person in the room. By extension, with certain tests that were given and certain things that were given to me, you might consider me the smartest person in the room. When you're in public education and you let your autism run wild and you're able to read at a high level, blah, 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 they consider you gifted and they try to put you in these special programs and try to do these things. But it doesn't really work out because you have to have the right environment everywhere else in order to have the right environment to excel in a world that doesn't actually cater to autism. Therefore, I am part of the gifted child to neurotic adult pipeline. I've talked about the tragedy of ADHD and success a couple years ago. You can go watch that video now. I'm not good enough to start doing the thing where I pop up a box when I mention a video and it comes up. I will try it for this one, but only this one. If this box doesn't pop up, the link will be in the description. I can promise you that because I have to read the goddamn the script before I post it because I do that in order to find out where to cut and where the silences are, blah, blah, blah. Okay. This has instilled within me a doubt that people actually take me serious when I'm invested in a topic. When I was a photographer for the majority of the time, I was also overlooked and overbooked because that's just the way things were. That's just the way things are. And I couldn't really change it as much as I thought I could, because it takes a lot for people to look inwards, especially when you present them with an unfiltered version of what they're putting out into the world. Now, that might be a lot of words to translate. It's very easy for autistic people to hold mirrors up to other people because we generally adapt to the surroundings that we're in and act accordingly. So when I made my appearance on the Leftist Mafia, I spoke in tandem and a lot about Project 2025. And while I was speaking about it, I felt like trying to condense 1,000 pages worth of information on the concrete positions, places, things, and times that certain points and think pieces will be executed within legislation and the government was just a little too boring for a group of people who could probably take the time out to read it themselves, who are listening to people who have already read it and have covered details of it extensively. Thought I would take a different route and explain myself the way I think it's going to affect. You need to hear the perception of how things are going to be ladled within maybe a common water cooler type conversation. How a normal person would talk about this, not how a political expert would talk about this. And the resounding negativity that I experienced afterwards from was just the same thing I've experienced growing up. You don't know what you're talking about. It sounds like you give off "my dad works at Nintendo" vibes. I couldn't really follow his train of thought, not really paying attention to what I'm saying, but doing that thing that I hate. Is you're not listening to what's being said, you're looking for something to respond to, something to negate. So I tell stories to avoid the negation part because it helps me frame everything in a way of saying, even if I didn't know what I was talking about, you know I wouldn't be talking about this because I don't talk about things that I don't know nothing about. For those of you who have watched this channel for a long time, you know I'm good at the transitions, which should lead us into this very next thing that I just sat here and watched. I'm not going to play the entire thing. I just want to play the beginning.
So, first of all, when you have an extreme
Obviously
position, you have an extreme position that says, no, we don't ever ask anyone. And I think the Olympics position is actually absurd. They don't do any genetic testing. They don't do any testing. So you could, since they don't do any testing at all, you can just walk in, call yourself a female. Now,
Sometimes I think in shit post terms. Sometimes I think in I'm just heated type terms. Sometimes I'm not feeling myself type terms. Sometimes I'm not giving myself enough credit type terms. Type B, type shit, type shit. But, and I hate to like have this humility of knowing that I have a small audience and I'm not making thousands of dollars and I'm struggling really hard, but at least I'm keeping my like focus on the forward moving perception of time itself, I guess, and that I will make something of myself if I just keep going. I feel like at this stage, if I'm 30 and I'm walking through life like this, you can't be this old walking through life doing the opposite. That's kid shit. That's somebody pressed me into this position, because that's not true. And if I were to sit up there and say, hey, I've been through the process and I can tell you that's not true, what does it do? You want me to do the thing that the right loves to do. You want me to do the thing that destiny loves to do. You want me to address that first part so you can say, well, okay, I got that one wrong, but you can hear the other parts. None of that's wrong, right? And it's like, why you want me to talk to you if you're not going to talk to me like a human being? Nobody says shit like that. So the fact that you up on this website, you got a whole brand to yourself, and you're talking like you're really like making a strong point, full of my chest pumped out and I'm ready to go. Fuck you. Fuck you. A nice, cool 500 a week from you would mean nothing to you and everything to me. And yet I am toiling, hands boiling, bubbling. We got the moves, the movers and shakers going stupid in this building. The shit rocking. The shit rocking. The shit going crazy. And you just get you don't even care anymore? The world's burning and you're just like, fuck it. The left is poor. The right has all the money. We could at least appease them a little bit. Fuck you. And I'm done with the Young Turks. Yo, Cenk, you want to debate somebody? Come roll up in my avenue. Let me end your career the way I've done so many others. It seems like Brianna Wu must have gotten your ear, right? Wonder why. Is it a tax liability? Did she put her name on something? Is she blackmailing you with it? What's going on, Cenk? And let us know the real. Tell us how you really feel. The paradigm shifted. I'm out of here.